Alright guys, I'm talking to myself. Um, I've got the mic on set on 3 and I've got volume down 1. I know it sounds terrible. I apologise, I've got reasons. Yeah, it's 24th of February 24. It's a Saturday and we've had a week where there was a vote in Gaza on Wednesday, an SNP amendment. Turns out that it seems Wednesday hasn't admitted in his speech about that. Wednesday didn't admit to. He just said that implied that MPs' lives might be in danger or something like that, and he said on both sides. So is that a lie? It's one side really. But what we're meant to imply from what he said, well, we can imply anything we want, but I think common sense is saying that the Labour MPs are scared, and so that's the stage we've reached, and they're scared of who. Well, I think Lindsay said they didn't really say. So I think he's been a total shambles, Lindsay, because if they're scared of one thing in particular, he needs to say, he needs to call it out, and he didn't. And he's done interviews and TVs since that as well, and he's not called it out. He's spoken about far right and stuff, but he's not called out what we're meant to think is in the danger to Labour MPs here. So, I mean, I've never really liked Lindsay Hall anyway, especially during Prime Minister's Question Time, which I don't watch anymore, but any time I see clips and all that of him, he's always interrupting and stuff. It just does my head in. He breaks the flow. I don't know. And the Speaker shouldn't be an MP anyway. I mean, why his constituencies don't get anyone to vote for at elections? How undemocratic is that? You can't get anyone undemocratic. And apparently, when he let Labour have this, because last Wednesday was meant to be SNP Amendment Day, and they chose it on Gala. And Keir sort of really begged Lindsay Hill to let him do a Labour amendment as well, because he was meant to make his softer on Gaza, but still quite hard. So, because of a demographic of their vote, and because there's a big crowd outside, it seems as well, the way Lindsay's been talking about. But even that crowd outside, I saw Maya Tussey, great channel. He was outside. It didn't look too bad to me from what I saw. I mean, I'm not in favour of these crowds. I mean, what happens to Gaza is terrible in Palestine. What's happened to Palestine, and it was Britain that made that happen in the first place. Britain created the borders. Britain created Palestine and created the borders of Palestine. And where is Palestine now? It's been wiped off the map. And the plan is to wipe it completely off the map, it seems. But we're all to regard the other way around. So that's definitely an Emperor's New Clothes situation. So it's ironic that this has been the thing that's brought this all to the fore. And because I think there's 3 or 4 groups that make up the pro-Palestine crowds in Britain. You've got the old leftist Corbynites, you could call them natives. You've got them who always seem to be contrarians, but now and again they're right. I stopped the clock, we were right twice a day. And on this, are definitely right. You've got fair-minded people, and I think they'll be all sympathy will be for Palestine as well. But then you've got this sort of Muslim thing, and in my opinion, it's just ego, really. It's to do with ego, which there's a lot of countries around the world that I think function badly because of more ego out of control. And Labour and SNP can't get enough of them coming to Britain because they seem to be smart enough to know they don't want to live in a beautiful warm country of the illegal is out of control. If they like firing Kalashnikovs and being 100% of the locals do that so that they fireworks are popular in Britain, like Kalashnikov fountain shooting the air, fireworks and flares and stuff. Well, back onto this thing about fireworks and flares and stuff. Well, back onto this thing about that vote in Parliament. It is ironic that it's Gaza might finally bring all this to the fore, because we're heading for anarchy, and this is one the flashpoint that make people realise things. But Suella Braverman's spoken out about these crowd, and I'm a big fan of hers. Not totally, but and so now has Lee Anderson, and Sadiq Khan. Suella wrote something in the Telegraph, I think it was on Thursday, a big thing about I can't remember, but apparently Sadiq Khan said it had reminiscences of Enoch's speech in 1969, I think it was. Now, that is ironic, because I think Enoch is a sort of probably the wisest politician that Britain's had for 100 years or something, or certainly the last one you can go back to, because he foresaw how it was going to play out, and he was totally right. It seems we're not even started yet, really. Well, we're just at the start. But now we're at the bit where it's going to switch, and it's no longer a British native country where a minority is sort of very happy to be here. Can't bear the thought of going back to wherever they came from, and that's it. Now we're at a stage where ego of these countries is going to get out of control and be in positions of power and every part of the system, and basically we're going to go from a place that functions to anarchy, really. And we're going to be even worse than the countries people have come from, because we've got the whole mix, basically. That includes maybe traditions that they have, or things that they're known for, as well as disputes they have with people over from their former home. So yeah, there's only about 2 or 3 or 4 disputes. We've got Iran, Nigeria. We've got every dispute from this world, as Hamza would call it, the global south. I think that means third world. We've got every dispute from the third world, plus tradition that Labour is going to try and stamp out, but have actually brought here. So we've got witchcraft, female genital mutilation, arranged marriage. These are from different traditions. We've all got them. We're going for all Britain now. Anyway, so Suella wrote something in the Telegraph, and then Lee Anderson's backed her up on his programme on GB News on Friday. And it's ironic, because I'm really glad that these two have done this, but I think they've both been a bit clumsy. But at this point, I'll take clumsiness over anything, because this is Emperor's New Clothes moments. So Braverman claims that as lists are in charge of Britain, as pressure grows on Keir Starmer over Commons Gaza vote, chaos sparked by Speaker ripping up her book to protect MPs from protesters. And I can say I saw the protesters outside from what I saw from Maya Tussi's thing. And as I was saying to the crowd, you've got the Jeremy Corbyn crowd. I mean, they must make up like 10-15% of the crowd now. You've got Muslims who love Pakistan, or hardly any from the actual Israel or Palestine area or whatever. And as we heard last week, one was up on a terrorism charge for wearing a paraglider thingy. She's from Gaza, but she said that she was claiming asylum here because her family are critical of Hamas, and she was out in the march, so with a paraglider thing on her thingy, and the judge, who has a sort of Bangladeshi name, let them all free. I mean, I don't think they should have jail anyway, but normally they probably would have expected jail because they've brought in harsh things about this. It's sort of, what can you call them, thought crimes, or it's getting to that sort of stage now. But I don't think they should have been. But and it turns out that that judge at some point liked a LinkedIn thing with a guy showing been on a protest in Palestine, and the guy in the picture would have been. He didn't look like he had family here before 1947, and wouldn't look out of place in South Asia. So, and also that judge who done that, one of the policemen in one of the WhatsApp groups that shared a photo of some victim of a murder or whatever. I think he got a bit. Oh no, he was might have said sort of quote racist things or something on WhatsApp or whatever. He get like 2 years jail or something. And that was in a private WhatsApp group. And I don't even know what the things he was that said. I don't really. When I hear these sentences and things now, I don't think justice is what's happening. Really, I just think it's sort of Wilton's get out of control, and the Tories trying to please him or whatever. Because we've just went through that phase, and now we're going through a sort of reversal phase, but not enough. But we're also going through another phase where you can't say things about Palestine and that, so it's all getting really crazy. Can't say anything critical about Israel or whatever. So Suella was doing a speech. I didn't read it because it was in the Telegraph, and that's a paywall for a start. But I've heard enough, and I'm a big fan of Suella, but I'm not totally thinking for her. I would want her to be the Tory Prime Minister. I want her to be the leader. Or Robert Jenrick. Anyone who realises that Britain's heading for anarchy, you know. I mean, I still don't think even they realise how much we're heading for anarchy. We've just had pictures today and video today in the Daily Mail of three men fighting in the afternoon with machetes in a London street, one of the main streets. And that is the real EastEnders now. Forget EastEnders on BBC is actually. I mean, if somebody wrote into them and said this doesn't reflect East End, you've got too many white people in the show, they would be right. You know, EastEnders should be about 90%, about 10% white or 5% white. Yeah, maybe even less than that. So, yeah, let's see what Suella was saying. But anyway, another surprise to me is that they're saying that Labour MPs were scared, and this is the first I've heard of this. You know, I've seen videos where maybe ladies with an accent that implies they come from Pakistan or whatever, chasing Rachel Reeves about, saying they're digging up for water and digging up for food and stuff about Gaza and that. And Rachel's sort of scurrying away. Seemed to be a bit white from what I saw as well. Yeah, that was in Leeds, was it, I think, or something. And Rachel was going, "Are you from my constituency?" So it's a bit ironic. She's using things like that to sort of get out of the situation. So, and then with Angela Rayner getting thinking about these are two that are very pro open borders and welcome, all welcome. I wonder if they'll choose at some point, you know. For them, it may be very late, you know, 20 years or whatever. Because basically it's going on, okay, that's the point. It's not that women are going to be afraid to go to their local shopping centre. I mean, that's bad anyway. But it's going to be a lot worse than that. It's going to be total anarchy, in my opinion. It's okay to say that Britain's going to be fantastic the way Sadiq Khan soon, you know. That's okay. But if you're a bit worried that it's going to not go well, you're not allowed to say anything. That's the sort of situation we're in, and it's going to be a disaster. So yeah, this was the first time I'd heard that known that Labour MPs was good because I saw the crowd and from what I saw, they didn't look bad. I would say about 70% of them are Muslims not from the Gaza, Israel area or Palestine area. Although some are now, there's a lot coming from Palestine now. So if it's any comfort to them, we gave away your country and now we're going to lose our country. Well, it is going to end up in anarchy, but more or less. Yeah, so maybe 70-80% are Muslims who I think it's based on ego, basically. It's based on inferiority complex and anti-white, basically anti-West, that sort of thing. It's not really to do with the Palestinians at all. I mean, that Shemara Begum, she got her thing rejected this week. She's doing another appeal to the Supreme Court this time. But yeah, we didn't have anyone protesting about ISIS or anything like that, saying don't shame us, that sort of thing. Or 911, we didn't have crowds out in Britain saying don't shame us, we're against this. There's Muslims dying all over the world in conflicts and people don't seem to be bothered, it's just this one. And I think it's more to do with ego, inferiority complex, and being anti-white, how they feel about themselves. I mean, if it was between, do you want Palestinians to be given 22% of their former land, which is bad, but at least they've got something, it'll be East Jerusalem, West Bank, Gaza, or do you want them to fight to the death? I think most British Muslims would want them to fight to the death. I can't be sure about that, We're not allowed to predict anything bad and negative in these sort of situations. It's an Emperor's New Clothes situation before the thing. Emperor's New Clothes and Boy Cries Wolf. So, but as they don't really to me like me and Lucy was in. He was out with his mic, his name on it. I think it's a mistake. He's starting to get one or two bits of hassle when he goes to these things now. He didn't in the past, or not from what I saw. I mean, it's gentle hassle so far, I mean, it's a fantastic YouTube channel he's got. He's somebody who really appreciates Britain, who I can identify with totally. So, same as Rafa Heidelman, who really appreciates Britain, and I can identify. I mean, the two of them could speak for me, and I would be silent. I'd be fine with that, if it came to that. But yeah, so I thought she was pretty clumsy, from what I've seen of what she was. But the crowd didn't look that bad to me, and they had that projector, and they were projecting on the highway like River to the Sea, which I don't find that offensive because that's what Israel's nearly got. It's Israel, and Israel, Netanyahu recently used that thing referring to what Israel want to do. But anyway, but you shouldn't be. I don't think you should be allowed to put stuff on things like Big Ben or Houses of Parliament or whatever they done. Stop the war and stuff like that. They were putting it, and this is why the vote was going on, although it wasn't because the SNP had walked out, and the Tories did as well. And I think Keir Starmer should be sacked for that as well. Lindsay should go as well. I think there's about 69 MPs want him going now, but it's Keir getting it wrong again as well. But it didn't look that bad to me. And Martin Dobney from GB News was outside as well at that thing. And he got eggs thrown at him from a lady who looked as if she was a brown skinned lady with a Palestine thing on, and but she could be from anywhere from the region, continent. And she threw eggs at Martin Dobney, And this is sort of 2 weeks after that Afghan man threw acid at her. And I think it's an Afghan lady, British, both of them British. Or the lady was becoming British, I think. Yeah, they found his body this week in the Thames, and I'm wondering if he didn't actually really have a relationship with the lady. Maybe she's waiting for British citizenship. Maybe wanted to keep in touch with him as a sort of maybe it would help her claim or whatever. I don't know because we've not been told anything about her really. She's got two kids. As far as from what I've been told or found out on Twitter, yeah, not the news. I think she's maybe in a hotel at the moment, waiting to get citizenship or something. I don't know. Don't know actually. I mean, she will get it, of course. Yeah, no doubt about that. Yeah, but anyway, the crowd, yeah, won't me get an egg thrown at them. I saw that. That was even on my Tussie's live feed. And he was sort of complaining about that projector. Because it's a tiny thing, and you can put project onto the thingy. I remember when it was done with that model in the 1990s. I thought it was a bit out of order. She was projected on Westminster. But then that was a nice thing, you know. Her from Scotland, like it's got alopecia now. When she was a lad's mag model or Tupper Pop's producer presenter. Yeah, but now we've got this situation. It's my projector. Milton Dublin was asking the police to confiscate it because you're not allowed to do that now. You're not allowed to project on the buildings, apparently. But the police said they were waiting on the whatever. But they didn't. And that went on for an hour or whatever. And it'll be interesting to see who was in charge of that projector because I think these sort of events are organised quite well, and it wouldn't surprise me if the ones doing the projection were white volunteers, you know, because in these sort of situations they seem to want to get whites volunteer for it, and that's what the organisers will want in that situation, and that's to sort of bring whites into it, you know, as if. But they will get them as well, because that time when Keir was at a uni recently, 2 or 3 months ago, and they get interrupted by two people protesting about Greens. Normally, you think maybe that'll be whites, little thingy, but in this case, it was a black and brown British male and female, and I suppose that was all planned. And the most important thing to the organisers of that were that the people doing it weren't white. You know, it's because like just Stop Oil has that problem when they do marches. They really struggle to find someone non-white to be. I mean, when they did, I saw one video when they did. The video just followed the black person all the time, basically, for the footage. Yeah, but the projector thing, yeah, I wanted to make that point. I wonder who was behind that, and I'm guessing it's probably two white people or something on behalf of the. So, and someday feminists and LGBTQ plus will be the ones wanting a reversal of the current situation in Britain. Ironically, to see how it's going to go, you know, they're being useful ideas at the moment. So, see what's saying. So, read it into the row over Wednesday's guys have voted in the comments today, claiming that the Islamists, the extremists, and the anti-Semites are in charge now. See, this is one thing about Sarah. She always brings it in with that anti-Semite thing. I don't agree with that, really, at all. I mean, anyway, with the Muslim crowd, British crowd, again, but I think that's just a sort of anti-West thing, and it's an inferiority complex thing. It's sort of commit, that sort of thing. If you know what I mean. It's more that they're angry that they didn't want to stay in their homelands where everyone looks like them. That they were racist in how they picked the countries they wanted to live in. They only wanted to live in white societies. I know that the ego was kicking in. they could go two ways. They could just enjoy it, like Maya Tussi, and respect it, and Rafi Heidelmann, but they've gone the other way, and it's a bit reminiscent maybe of how the countries they went away from, how they behave. They don't like red light. There's a lot of countries where they don't like red lights. They like fire, Kalashnikov in the air. To me, the countries look like the real evil's out of control, but the likes of Nicola Sturgeon and all wants more and more from it. I mean, female genital mutilation is now a British tradition, no matter how much you try and stamp it, make it illegal. It's a British tradition that some communities very much want. So, let's see what Suella was saying. The former Home Secretary, a front runner to be the next Conservative leader, I think she should be. As I say, she's not perfect on this, but at least she's coming from I mean, she said that one thing Suella says that multiculturalism is a disaster, but multi-ethnic is not. I'm sorry, I don't agree with that. You can't have the two things are inseparable anyway. I don't agree with it anyway. I mean, why are these countries, why are ism illegal out of control? Every country in the world could be like Britain, as desirable as the West. It could be as desirable as the countries the global south people want to move to. They're being racist in how they move, how they choose which countries they want. Africa should be the most desirable continent for people to move to. The only reason people should be moving is for war. So, let's see. Sánchez has twice apologised for ripping up the Commons rulebook, a move which helped the Labour leader avoid a damaging revolt over the fighting in the Middle East. The Speaker argued that he was motivated by anxiety about the safety of MPs from pro-Palestinian protesters rather than partisan concerns. Well, that's the first time I've seen that. I don't watch his full statement enough, but he's saying they're anxious about the safety of MPs from pro-Palestine protesters. Because he said that when that sketch I saw, he says he's worried about MPs on both sides. Well, the Tories won't be worried about this. I suppose they would be, actually, because a lot of the ones in London have got big Muslim hymns, and of course one was killed by a Muslim recently. So I suppose it would be. So what Lance is saying that when he needs to change the way our democracy works to placate these people. From what I saw, the crowd didn't look that bad outside, but maybe the Labour MPs are so scared now. And this is the first time I've heard this, that the Labour MPs are scared. So that was new to me. I mean, I could imagine that they were, but I didn't realise to what extent that Keir's even trying to put a thing through for him. Because I mean, Keir, of course, was he told Israel, do what you have to do, after October 7th and all that. I mean, it sounded daft to me what he was saying, but so he's went from the sort of old school British elite thingy, and 3 months later now he's asking for a ceasefire and stuff. What else does it say here? Extremist sympathisers projected the phrase from the river to the sea. I mean, I don't see that. I mean, it's a bit clumsy, but remember, it's them that have lost from the river to the sea. They've only got a tiny bit left in the sea, and that's Gaza. I mean, that's about the size of Arran and the size of Isle of Wight, They've lost the rest of it. Went to the Elizabeth Tower during the debate as thousands of protesters gathered outside. But writing in the Telegraph this morning, Miss Braverman said that I may have been sacked because I spoke out against the appeasement of Islamists, but I would do it again because we need to wake up to what we are sleepwalking into, a ghettoised society where free expression and British values are diluted. And when she says British values, what does she mean by British values, I mean, they actually mean white native British values. That's what they really mean. Um, and so I think she's married to a Jewish man who's done very well in life, you know. So I'm wondering if maybe she's coming up for another bit of a squint as well, because it seems that a lot of people who identify with Israel, to me, seem to be like Ulster Unionists if you get it into context. You know, if I said to someone, if I said to the Glastonbury crowd, I know we've got someone from the Ulster Unionist Party to a message to you, you know, they might boo, they might, or just be silent, not very hangy, because they've got a view of the Ulster Unionists, and it's not that great, probably. Uh, but my point is that I think the group who identify with Israel, they're also like the Ulster Unionists, and that sort of, you know, and Ulster, if you want to, if you're from Ulster Unionist family and you want to, everyone to feel equal there, you vote Alliance Party. Many more are voting Alliance Party, but I mean, I know a woman aged in her 20s who are Ulster Unionist heritage. I'm guessing most of them would vote Ulster Unionist, they won't vote Alliance. And that's a sign that society's gone a bit squiffy, you know. I mean, the people I listen to in Israel are Jewish Voice for Peace and things like Code Pink. I mean, these people are magnificent. Jewish Voice for Peace. Anything that the media do on this, when you have a panel or whatever, have a debate, Jewish Voice for Peace should always be on the show. But apparently they're regarded as self-hating and things like that, you know, so that goes to show that's not very tolerant and stuff. And so I'm wondering if Suella's coming from it for another bias, you know, but yeah. As I say, that Suella's the best I can cling on to at the moment, and an acceptable political thingy. He says, but I would do again because we need to make up with sleeper to a ghettoised society where free expression and British values are diluted. It's been like that for like 50, 60 years, so this is where we are. Where Sharia law, the Islamist mob, and anti-Semites take over communities. Also, she's just focusing on Islam as well, you know. I've got a lot more. I've got three black men fighting with machetes in the London Main Street in the afternoon. You know, so I've got really probably we're going to new parties with the Muslim party because it set up the Muslim website about 2 weeks ago, and it was saying that they've got 4 million who could vote for them or whatever. They'll probably set up a party. And then on the other hand, Black Lives, the matters of black, the matters of the lives of black, except in Machete, Black and Black murders, I suppose. They'll set up a party, so that'll be two broad umbrellas. But long term usually will break down because you'll have Somali and you'll have Nigerian and you'll have, and Nigeria's got lots of different ethnicities. It's to do with ethnicity rather than race, really. Well, that is the top of the tree. You can split it into race, and then you can split it. You need to split it into ethnicities, how people feel, you know. So she's saying this sort of stuff. Lindsay's bottled it. Keir's bottled it. Too late me to go, really. It wouldn't surprise me if the Labour MPs want Keir going, really. What else is Suella saying? We need to overcome the fear of being labelled Islamophobic and speak truthfully. Well, the problem is that you've brought in laws. Possibly you did as well, I don't know, but we've been brought in laws where you're not allowed to speak about anxieties, you're not allowed to say it's going to be great, like the London Mayor is saying. Yeah. However, Miss Braverman faced criticism in her time in the Home Office from Lord Man. Okay, that's what I saw idiot from that former Labour MP. I mean, he's just. So he's not even worth reading about, really. And what else does it say here? And her successor, James Clever, said he did not always agree with everything she said. Yeah, I mean, I mean, I'm not sure how he's feeling. It might actually just be what he's feeling, but I wonder if people, I think he's mixed race. I wonder if that some compare to think that it was the white natives that they came for, and they can't bear the thought of um, I can't really think. Well, it was racist. It's racist how people have come to Britain and the West because they're choosing basically in their mind the white West. That's what they're choosing. But then if they feel an inferiority complex, which is self-imposed, it's nothing to do with them. It might affect their judgment on what made the countries great. You know, I mean, really, even when you look at South Africa, I think it's at its peak it was maybe 20% South Africa. That was probably the most desirable. That was probably the most desirable world for global South people to move to outside the West. You know, so but James Clever doesn't seem very clever to me anyway. I don't know how he's maybe he's good. I mean, he seems decent, but he just seems incompetent to me, really. So, the Home Secretary told LBC she's clearly expressing frustrations that she's felt. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. See, a year ago or something, she could have probably been arrested for what she's saying. Or the Home Secretary could have got arrested for that. Now she's allowed to say it because she's a former Home Secretary. And she was saying this when she was Home Secretary as well, but it's probably been people jailed for 20 years for what she's saying because they're getting very stupid sentences for things not really that much to do with, what they're supposed to be or whatever. Anyways, James is saying we must crack down on extremist behaviour, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I'm just looking at the rest of it. Some Conservatives have been reluctant to blame the Speaker for Wednesday's events, instead pointing the finger at Sir Keir. There are claims he personally lobbied the Speaker, telling him he would have blood on his hands if a Labour amendment was not selected, something the party leader categorically denies. Yeah, Keir said something about this the next day, and again it was unsatisfactory. He said, I can't remember what he said actually, but he didn't. I mean, he is useless. I think he's totally useless anyway. I mean, even when he was a lawyer and a leader, it wouldn't surprise me if his MPs weren't going with it. Miss Bradley said the Labour leader had bowed to the mob and made a grubby backroom deal. She said the mask has slipped and hawked to his lass. He's responsible for one of the most shameful days of our democracy. Yeah, and I feel Heidi and Kay was saying this on the New Culture Forum on YouTube today. And I think it as well. This is the worst disaster that's ever happened to Britain. Basically, it's the end. And we're going into Mad Max territory. It's the worst thing that's ever happened. And I think feminists and the LGBTQ plus and that will be campaigning for it to be reversed, basically. Pretty soon. Well, not pretty soon. It's too late already. 10, 15 years maybe. Well, what else does it say here? By effectively taking the Speaker hostage, he brought Parliament into disrepute. I mean, I've got everything wrong from what I've seen here. His explanations. I don't like his style either. I mean, I prefer the Deputy Speaker, the lady, because he said something like, if my mistake is looking after members, then but when he says looking after, he's looking after from threats from the pro-Palestine crowd, which is about 10-15% Corbynites, uh, white contrarians, and the rest. Yes, as I say, because for me personally, I think would be totally sympathetic to Palestine, and Britain's even to blame for the situation, but that's not the reason that these people are protesting. I think it's to do with ego and inferiority complex and the way they express themselves from whether grandparents are from or great grandparents. They might sometimes refer to as their homeland. We're not allowed to, of course. Last night, Rishi Sunak accused Sir Lindsay of pandering to extremists by bending parliamentary rules. So maybe that means that the government went as well. I hope he goes, actually, Sir Lindsay. Almost 70 MPs have signed a motion called for the Speaker to quit in the wake of the controversy, and that includes nearly all the SNP thingy. So that's good, because usually they would be pretty fitting about, because the SNP want Scotland to be a third world majority far sooner than the Tories. They want it to be in the 2040s. So apparently James Cloverly supports Sir Lindsay, so then getting it wrong again. Here's what Sakir said. He simply urged the Speaker to have the broadest possible debate by allowing Labour's Gaza motion to be heard alongside those from the government and SNP. But it was an SNP amendment day. Labour get loads of amendment days. And they haven't never picked Gaza to speak about. So SNP are quite right here. That's why the SNP done it. He said, I can categorically tell you that I did not threaten the Speaker in any way whatsoever. My White House sources told him that Sakir had gate crashed a meeting between the Speaker and the Labour Chief Whip just minutes before Rice's debate in an apparent attempt to bounce him into agreeing to a vote which would avoid exposing Labour splits over Gaza. The SNP one was a harsh on him, as it should be. Because the truth about I'm not sure what I can say about that. I mean, I'm not sure I can call it a genocide or an ethnic cleansing and stuff like that. Because because of people like suella and other British politicians at the top, Rishi Sunak, and can't speak about these things in Britain, so Collins leader Penny ardent condemns Sakir for bullying a decent man into a misguided decision. So, ardent condemns Sakir for bullying a decent man into a misguided decision. So, a bit of Keir goes as well. Sir Keir. And here's another article, and this is from Sadiq Khan. Sadiq Khan waded into the row of Gaza protests outside Parliament today with an attack on Suella Bravo over her the Islamists are in charge now. So I don't agree with that, but everyone's afraid of them. There's two angles. Everyone's afraid to speak about, even though it's looking as if it's a sort of, it's not a very compatible match. But then the other end of it, you look at ISIS. I mean, a lot of Brits went to join ISIS. We've had 911, Manchester bombing. People in the community are thinking of the next world rather than present, and it seems to be doing with the ego. Because I think that white natives, I would say we're all atheists now. Many would say, no, I'm still Christian. I put Christian in the senses. But really, we're all atheists, but that's not the some Brits are going there. The London News said that the former Home Secretary had not intended to be the next Tory leader, was doing her best to outflank, and I won't say his second name in case YouTube doesn't like it, who I think is the best politician, British politician in the last 100 years, and includes Winston Churchill and that probably. Because you could say he predicted how it was going to go, but really it was pretty obvious even from the start. So he was really making an Emperor's New Clothes statement. He wasn't making some things. I mean, does anyone think we're going to be better than what we were before 1947 in terms of attitudes, etc.? Does anyone think it's going to work in capacity, whether economy or whatever? Are women going to be afraid to go to their down High Street and getting their buttons touched, or that sort of thing? Mrs. Bravo incendiary remarks as the Tories switched their anger from Speaker Lindsay Hall to focus on Keir Starmer's role in the political chaos. So, we've got Sadiq. Sadiq's always saying, like, everyone's welcome to become Londoners. I mean, London's totally gone. I don't think people would recognise London and that's the way the whole country's going to go. We're eventually going to be a global south majority. And with that, you can include East Europe and the likes. That's going to be a majority. We're going to be a Frankenstein country. So this has never been tried before in humanity. We've had 2 million years of evolution of humans. And this has only been tried the last 75 years. Personally, I think it's always looked as if it's going to be a disaster. If it was small numbers, you could say, okay, we're still going to function, but it's small numbers. But now it's big, big numbers, and it's going to be the majority. I mean, at the moment, it's, I think Britain in the 21, England and Wales in the 21 census was 74% British native. I think it was about 81% white. But that's even probably changed maybe 2 or 3% already. 4% even, it seems to be changing about 2% a year. So personally, I think we're just going to be a Frankenstein, and it's never been tried in humanity. But I don't think I'm some genius when I say that. I think everybody thinks this as well, but because it's still working at the moment, it's okay. Well, it's sort of stage 1 cancer, stage 1 terminal cancer. Everything's okay, I just can't believe that politicians have done this, and there's going to be so many changes. I don't know when the good native British are going to finally realise, you can't vote Labour, SNP, Lib Dem or Greens. You've got to abandon them totally. You can only really vote Social Democrat Party, UKIP, or Britain First. I would think. So it's all getting in a little tangle, but I'm back in Lee Anderson and suella at the moment, even though the two of them are pretty clumsy on the subject, and they also seem to be just focusing on one thing. So let's see what they said about Lee Anderson. He's got a Friday night show on GB News. Labour has called for Lee Anderson to lose a Tory party whip after the outspoken MP made racist and Islamophobic comments about London Mayor Sadiq Khan. The ex-deputy Tory chairman said on GB News last night that the first Muslim mayor of London is controlled by Islamists and that he has given our capital city away to his mates. So I don't think he is controlled. I think it's the way he feels as well. So I don't really know what he's talking about. But I support him in that the status quo is a total disaster. We're heading for anarchy. So I support anyone who's coming out of, we'll get somebody to rally around you. He said, I don't actually believe that these Islamists have got control over country, but what I do believe is they've got control of Cannes, and they've got control of London, and they've got control of Stanmore as well. So I think so. I was saying Islamists have got control of our country. I mean, these sort of things could get you jailed for like 15 years, about 3 years ago. Uh, and I would be a Home Secretary that made this law. So I was, but I'm grateful for speaking the right way. Again, this time with Karen, he's actually giving our capital city away to his mates. I mean, he says his mates, but it's like 30% black, so 30% black, 30% Muslim, 30% native British or whites from East Europe or whatever, but because if you let Labour in through the back door, expect more of this and expect our cities to be taken over by these lunatics. But I have to say, I mean, my favourites on GB News are Patrick Christie's and Martin Dobley. It used to be Patrick Christie's, but now it's more Martin Dobley now. He's saying it more spot on for me. I mean, of course, I would be the best to be spot on, but because I don't think any of them have yet said that we're heading for anarchy or whatever. I'm glad Nigel Farage and that are there, but I'm not. Again, I think they're a bit off. Jacob Reed-Smallgrave and Tom Harwood, he's pretty good. And the lady Emma Carroll or whatever, who's Patrick Christie's fiance, I think. They're good. So GB News is still really good on this. However, they lost it a bit, but they're back. Because they went sort of mainstream for a while there, but they've brought a few back who are of the sort of more edgy, on the edge of common sense, really. Not totally, but the Labour Party is ready to that he withdraw from us and for his vile Islamophobia and dangerous conspiracy theories. See, I don't agree with this word phobia, and I'm glad to use it because phobia means fear of, and I think fear of is a very, very understandable thing. And that's why I'm not so keen on the word anti-Semitism, even. That means people from that area. You could include Arabs in anti-Semitic, but Semites or whatever. But if you called it sort of, I don't know how you could call that word, but I would call it criticism of Israel, basically. You're not allowed to do any criticism of Israel. This is the same on behalf of Islam and Britain. We're not allowed to criticise Islam, really. That's been the situation. It's been nice, and that's because the British native women are Beninese, has been the way they are about this. Beninese to all these people who can't bear to live in their own beautiful warm homelands and are being racist and how they're wanting to live here. But these natives are going to be the ones that will be calling for a reversal in 10, 15 years because they themselves will be too terrified to go to their main street or whatever. Shadow Cabinet member Jonathan Ashworth, who penned a letter, wrote on X, formerly Twitter, Sweden has a clear choice, show some backbone and withdraw the whip, or be forever known as too weak to take them on. So he's trying to play the same thing, say the same thing that we're saying about Keir, but the problem is with Keir, it's real. Keir was scared for his own MPs, and his own MPs were scared. So, anyway, this is the sort of place we should be. We're sort of indirectly talking about how we're heading for anarchy. So this is the sort of thing we should be talking about. Even though they've been a bit clumsy and supporting. But yeah, the rest is doomed. Britain's doomed. We're all doomed with this experiment. 2 million years of human evolution. Now we've switched one to 75 years where people have come, they can't bear their homelands, where everyone looks like them. Um, you could say they've been racist and how they've picked the countries they want to live in, even though Britain's already gone anyway. It's not accurate. That's it, really. The rest is down. All you can do is vote UKIP, SDP, or especially if you're a feminist or LGBTQT plus, very pro that. You need to vote UKIP, SDP, or Britain First or whatever as a protest vote. You will someday, anyway.